So let's talk about Hob. This is Runic Games' final game since they were shuttered months after it came out. It is they're the Torchlight and Torchlight 2 developers. And also, if there's a sawing in the background, I'm sorry. I can't control people sawing things. I wish. And it's a bit of a Zelda-like adventure game, and there's a lot of interesting things. So let's start with the good. Art style is really cool. Really enjoyed it. The world is kind of mechanical, even though it's all these natural trees and stuff, but it'll shift and form together. You'll turn knobs and solve these puzzles that will make land masses rise and sink, and that's really cool, and it's always fun to see. So big ups there. The other kind of hook, I guess, that you might have heard about this game is that it's all told with no dialogue. So there's a story kind of going on. I couldn't really tell you much of what any of it means. And I'm fine with that. You know, I really liked Hyper Light Drifter last year. Really enjoyed it. One of my favorite games of the year. Hyper Light Drifter is phenomenal. And it doesn't have it doesn't have text or anything. And this is going for a similar thing. But the problem is it doesn't really get it. I don't know or understand even basic anything about what's going on. I guess there's weird slime monsters, or there was aliens, or there's this other chick that shows up. I don't know what any of this means. And more importantly, I don't know that I really care. But that's neither here nor there. The problem I have with this not talking to you and you have to figure things out is that the game explicitly does have English words all over the place. So you pause the game and it'll have, hey, press L and R to go onto the other menus to see them, to see your abilities. It's like, well, why are you telling me that's my abilities? If you want to have a game where I can't understand the dialogue and anything that's happening, go all the way in. You know, there are loading screens in this game that have full sentences. Hey, Delphox. They have full sentences of text. I was like, hey, you should adjust the gamma. Did you know you can dodge roll? And I'm like, but the whole game is about being lost in this mysterious world and not understanding the language of what's happening. But so much of the game is talking to you. You go to this upgrade station to buy new abilities and all sorts of nonsense there. And even that thing is like, hey, it just plainly tells you, hey, you want to do more damage? Well, you could buy this attack right here. I'm like, well, why? Why are you using so many words? It could have been so much better if these upgradable abilities had just been portrayed in pictures. Like, oh, you get this ability? Well, it just shows a heart, health up, damage down, like sword down. And you have to figure it out, right? You have to piece it together. And it's not like some crazy difficult thing to figure out. But it would have been a lot better than, oh, now you have a shield. Or now your thing lasts longer if you generate energy if you block at a certain time. It's like, oh, that's cool and all, but I thought you were trying to tell a story where I didn't have like a super clue what was happening. It's a weird kind of disconnect. Juxtaposition. Nope, just the magician between the two. That didn't quite gel to me. Now, the game itself, I did really enjoy. It is a good time. The combat's fun enough. It's not crazy deep. It certainly isn't Hyper Light Drifter, which I'm going to bring up constantly because you should just play Hyper Light Drifter, which is unfortunate because Torchlight and Torchlight 2 are great games, and this is another good game, and go big or go home. Yeah, go big or go home. But the combat is fine. It's not bad. It's not amazing. But it's passable. The puzzles are good. There is a problem to me with this. It's non-linear, but it is super linear. All these levels you go to, and it's hard to kind of figure out sometimes, like, am I supposed to go this way or am I not supposed to go this way? Because if I go the wrong way, it's just going to be annoying. It's kind of hard to explain. And you'll go underground in these little dungeons, and that's better. Those are like linear Zelda style. If a Zelda dungeon was linear, and they're smaller, so they're more akin to shrines in Breath of the Wild, and I rather liked them, but this did feel to me somewhat half-baked. There are many points in this game where the camera, like, I'll be behind something and I can't see where I am, and I'll fall down a hole. Like, that's not fun. Or I'll fall down some other thing and I can't see where I'm supposed to go, or the camera shifts. It's like, why is it shifting here? And there are many this is weird, and I said this in the stream too. You can see me streaming behind it. I said this in the stream. I've never played a game and wanted it to have invisible walls more than Hob. It is the most bizarre complaint, if you can even call it a complaint. There are so many times where I'm like, do I jump over here? I don't know. Oh yeah, me dying. It's just weird and unclear. Like, sometimes I'm jumping on these weird mushroom things, but other times I fall into them and I get stuck and I die. The very fact that the game in the pause menu has a respawn option is kind of indicative of what's going on. The platforming is good and I like it, but sometimes it felt, and it goes out of its way. It goes out of its own way. Yeah, to help you with the platforming, sort of like kind of magnet you where you need to go. But other times you'll be looking at it and there's something about the perspective of this game where I couldn't quite figure out. It's like, am I jumping this way or this way? And one is death, right? And one is the jump. But they're so close, and because it's not in a game, it might be a dumb example, but Nier Automata does this, and actually the original Nier does this too, where it's 3D, but then sometimes it'll shift to 2D for like these weird little platforming sections. And Hob does somewhat of a similar thing where it will kind of shift the camera around to where now it's a little different, but it doesn't make the controls right for that instance. It still feels a little loose. And there's this one point, it's in this long stream of me being an idiot, where you get this grappling hook attachment and the tutorial says, oh, hold LB to do the grapple. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So you hold LB to do the grapple, and he stands there, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? There's another grapple point. Do I look over at the grapple point? What if I let go of, I'm grappled. If I let go of the button, I fall down. But do I let go of the button and then immediately hit it again to like swing over to the next point? It never said anything. All it said was hold LB to grapple. So it took me a while to figure it out. And what I had to do was jump and just keep holding LB and just jump to where I needed to go, and it would automatically do it. But that was never explained or told to me. And a lot of these abilities are kind of like that, in that, especially with this, you'll get them and it'll have that tutorial, which that one was very poorly explained, and then they're very seldom used. I compare this to Zelda because it has its open world, it has the heart pieces you're finding, there are secrets around these corners, there are battle challenges, but it never quite goes or gets anywhere with it. The game flat out ends. I don't want it to explain things in the text explicitly, but when you have an on-screen text that is unclear, you have to explain something. You can't just leave it there, especially in that point. Like, it's on this video where I get stuck at that certain point. And that's a point where in playtesting, someone should have looked at it and said, oh, we got to make this more clear, right? Even if it means having text, right? Or conversely, changing how it works to where you could release LB, you move the stick to aim where you're going to jump next, and you press LB again, and then he just does it, right? Instead of involving jump at all. There is a workaround from that, especially fairly easy workaround that you probably could have just done based on what I just said. So it's weird. There are weird choices like that. There is kind of a vagueness to some of the puzzles where it's like, I don't even know what to do. I never had to look up anything, but there were many times where I was like, I just want to get on with this. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or if this was wrong. And because it's so linear, there's very, very little, at least what I saw, that was like, this is the optional dungeon area. This is the optional whatever over here, over there. It was like, oh, I have to solve this. I'm in this desert, I'm in this wherever, I have to solve this. I don't know. And I think the game starts off very strong, then opens up a little bit, and you go to this bland, uninteresting, kind of confusing place. It's like there's this puzzle that I couldn't quite remember. Oh, I did look this up actually. I didn't remember that I needed to move this thing over, and you're trying to move this switch, and I'm like, oh, can I move this switch? Oh, I can't because it'll kill me. But I didn't remember what I had to do, but I had to do this. And was I just lost to roam the world for the rest of my life if I hadn't figured that out? Because there's nothing else to do. There's literally, it's not like Breath of the Wild or any other game like that, or any Zelda, where there's other stuff to do. At that point in the game, I had to either advance that section or just explore what I had previously explored and never get any further. So it's weird. However, and I was talking about kind of the beginning being okay and then it dips, and it's about 7-8 hours. It's a decently long game. I think the last 2 hours or so are fantastic. That's where it gets better. You go to this water area and solving puzzles there. The dungeon underground of that section is fantastic. I really enjoyed solving those puzzles and had some really good moments. And then you kind of, spoilers I guess, you open the reservoir with the water area, and then you like kind of guide the water around the world, and that's cool. I'm down with that. And it gives you enough targets where you'll pause it and it's like, hey, go here. Okay, I can figure that out, right? But I don't know, the entire time, especially further I got into it, I kept thinking of Hyper Light Drifter and going, that is this game done better. And it came out a year ago. It came out a year before this game, and it is this game done 20 times better. There are moments in Hyper Light Drifter where you'll see something on the ground and you won't know what it is, and hours will go by, and you'll come back and realize that is an indicator of a hidden object. And it was here the entire time, and it's all over the world. That's what I didn't see. Oh my god, that's so cool. Not to mention, just it's so much more fun to explore that world than the world in Hob. This is not bad. I'm not like sad that I played this game or anything. It's not terrible. It definitely is a little janky around the edges. But I think I can recommend this. But I think if you have the option to play Hyper Light Drifter and you're not turned off by Hyper Light Drifter's like tough as nails combat at times, definitely play that instead. That is a much better game, which is mean. I feel mean now, or I feel I don't want to be mean now as much as like I don't want to say that game. This game's shitty. It's not shitty, but the other game's better. But if you played that and you want something vaguely similar, here's Hob. I also wanted to support it because Runic Games just got like murdered in a back alley. So I was like, yeah, you are being mean, cheese. So I wanted to support them. So I bought the game. Now it was on sale, but I mean, come on. Beggars can't be choosers. Your studio's closed. I supported you I own all your games that you made as Runic. Like, Merry Christmas. That's what you get for Christmas. One idiot's $10. But play Hyper Light Drifter. Oh my god. Just remembering that game is so goddamn good. Wow. And that does the unspoken story thing super well. But Hob's fine. I should start giving scores. I've never given a score before on my stupid show. Done it for 2 years, never given a score. I'll give this a 7. I don't know what that means. It's a 7. I don't know.